Hello and welcome back. It is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020, and we are on lesson 18, transitive active verbs and indirect objects. It's our next noun job. Okay? So, you guys are doing wonderful. Remember that subjects are nouns, objects of the preposition are nouns, direct objects are nouns, and now indirect objects are noun jobs. And if you think of anyone that I missed, you're probably right, but I'm pretty sure that's all the noun jobs we've learned so far. Now, so we have this lesson. This is lesson 18. The next lesson, lesson 19 next week, will be our interjection lesson, and we will have learned all 8 parts of speech and how they work in a sentence. Just super impressive, you guys. So if you guys worked hard on this, you can officially say you know the 8 parts of speech and how they function in a sentence after next week. So let's begin this. And as always, I hope all of you are doing really, really well. I know that I am feeling a little trapped in my house, and I cannot wait to get back to the classroom with you guys. I fear that's going to be for a real long time, though. So, all of you just do the best you can. I know you're all really busy. I know I'm busy with just having one kid. I can't imagine you guys who have 2, 3, 4 children all stuck in the house, not being able to do anything. And my daughter just started her online classes for school, so that means any of your children who go to the Grand Rapids Public School have also started their online classes as well. So that's been a little tricky for me. It took me a minute to get used to that interface on the seesaw because my daughter is in grade school. I hope everybody rented out the tech they needed and everything's going really well for you. So now let's begin our lesson, and we are on lesson 18, transitive active verbs with indirect objects, which is a new one for us. Okay, so let's start.
Welcome back to Get Smart. You are on lesson 18. And in lesson 18, we will be talking about transitive active verbs and indirect objects. Let's start with some relevant review. Remember that a transitive active verb is a verb that transfers its action to a receiver called the direct object. And a direct object is a noun or a pronoun that's receiving the action of the verb. Now, direct objects are only found with transitive active verbs, and it's the same thing with indirect objects. Before we start talking more about indirect objects, see if you can find the direct objects in these 2 sentences. Cindy planted flowers, and Tim sent a package. I hope that you were easily able to say that flowers and package are the direct objects. Both of them are receiving the action of the verb. The flowers are being planted. The package is being sent. Now, take a look at these 2 sentences. I'm going to add a prepositional phrase to both of them. Cindy planted flowers for Lisa, and Tim sent a package to Henry. In these sentences, Lisa and Henry are objects of prepositions. For Lisa is a prepositional phrase, and to Henry is a prepositional phrase. The English language has another way to express this same idea. Check it out. Cindy planted Lisa flowers, and Tim sent Henry a package. Now, we don't have any more prepositional phrases. There are no prepositions there. So that means Lisa and Henry can't be objects of the preposition because there's no preposition. They are indirect objects. Both of them are receiving the direct object. The flowers are for Lisa. She's receiving the flowers. The package is for Henry. He's receiving the package. So in English, we can express that same idea with either a prepositional phrase, in which case those nouns are objects of the preposition, or we can do it with an indirect object. Here's the definition of an indirect object. Indirect objects are nouns and pronouns that receive the direct object. They answer for whom or to whom about the direct object without explicitly using a preposition. Noun job alert. This is another noun job. So now you know that nouns can be subjects, objects of prepositions, direct objects, and indirect objects. Let's look at a couple other examples of sentences with indirect objects. Mrs. O'Brien taught her students grammar. Take a minute to pick out the direct object and the indirect object. Okay, do you have a guess? Grammar is the direct object and students is the indirect object. It's as if it says, Mrs. O'Brien taught grammar to her students. Here's one more example sentence for you. Lend me a cup of sugar. Okay, before I tell you, I want you to pick out the direct object and the indirect object. Lend me a cup of sugar. Are you ready for the answer? Okay, this is an imperative sentence or a command. So the subject is you, understood. Lend is our transitive active verb. Cup is our direct object. And me is the indirect object. It's as though the sentence says, lend a cup of sugar to me. Now, one note about indirect objects. You must have a direct object in order to have an indirect object. So keep that in mind. Indirect objects will only be found in sentences that have transitive active verbs and direct objects. Now let's talk about how to diagram indirect objects. But before we do that, we're going to look at how to diagram that same idea when it's expressed in a prepositional phrase. So here's the sentence, Tim sent a package to Henry. And here's the sentence diagram. Tim is the subject. Sent is a transitive active verb. Package is the direct object. And to Henry is a prepositional phrase. It goes under the verb sent. We sent it to Henry. Now, check out how this looks when we diagram it as an indirect object. This is Tim sent Henry a package. Notice that it's almost exactly the same, but rather than having the word to in there, because there isn't the word to in this sentence, we have an X in parentheses. This is how you diagram indirect objects. It's as though the indirect object is the object of an implied preposition. So put your indirect objects in the same spot you would have an object of the preposition and put an X in parentheses on the slanted line. Let's also look at a diagram for lend me a cup of sugar. The subject is you, understood. Lend is the transitive active verb. Cup is the direct object. And me, the pronoun, is the indirect object. So there's a sentence diagram of that sentence. All right, have fun diagramming your 5 sentences for this lesson, and I will see you in lesson 19.
Okay, you guys, let me check my mic real quick, make sure it's on. Yep, we got that. It's going. So, this should not be too complicated. You diagram it in the same spot. You diagram a object with a preposition, and you use that X instead of having the preposition in the sentence. So, let's open up our homework for tonight. I know everybody's really busy, so it should be pretty simple. Okay. If you would like to give this a read, you may. Let me make it bigger. Okay. Let's take a look at that. Pause the video if you have to. Bring it down. Pause the video again and give this a read as well. one more time, how you diagram the direct objects. Alright, so this is one with an indirect object and a prepositional phrase. The preposition being to. And then if we come down here, we remove the preposition, giving you a slightly different sentence. So instead of Tim sent a package to Henry, we have Tim sent Henry a package. This is the missing preposition, that X right here, to indicate that you are diagramming a indirect object. Indirect objects go down here. Hopefully that is helpful. Alright, so let's begin. Lesson 18, Sentence Diagramming Exercises. 1. Mary handed me the towel and the sunscreen. So write that on your blank piece of paper. Mary handed me the towel and the sunscreen. Then head down here to the key. Pause the video and fill out a box underneath your sentence that you wrote on a blank piece of paper. Obviously, pause the video if you have to. And then we'll head down to number 2. The happy little girl sent her grandmother a letter. The happy little girl sent her grandmother a letter. Write that out. Then you're going to write out your box. And now we're going to head down to number 3. Pause the video if you haven't written your box out yet. Did Chad give you his keys? Number 3 is, did Chad give you his keys? Write out the sentence. Write out our nice little key, or this little box right here. Good. Number 4. Will you buy me a movie ticket? Will you buy me a movie ticket? Okay. Here's your sentence key. Make sure you fill all that out. And then we will head down to number 5. Sharon and Paul bought their cat a new collar and some catnip. Sharon and Paul bought their cat a new collar and some catnip. Okay, make sure you get that all written out. Head down to the key. Take your time and write this out. Pause the video if you have to. And good luck. This is impressive. We made it all the way to 18. Might have been better if we could have done it in the classroom, but I think all of you have all the information you need to complete this. And any other work, if you are having trouble, go back and watch the other videos and just start from scratch and practice. Okay, this will be really helpful when you get into pre-GED. I know Laura spends a lot of time going over grammar concepts, and I think this is a great base for you guys. So, I hope everybody's doing really, really well. Like I said before, I hope all of your kids are busy and you're staying busy. I've been cooking a lot and watching movies, reading books, and most of my time is spent just keeping my daughter busy with extra work. I'm kind of actually excited about the Grand Rapids Public School online work because it allows me to not have to think of things to do with her. The 2 things that we did do is for science, or the 2 science projects we did, we made a little volcano with Mentos and some Coca-Cola. We also ordered some butterflies in the mail, and those have all come out and they're looking really good. We gotta let them out in the wild soon. Hopefully it's warm enough now. And we also bought some praying mantises that will hatch in like a little netting cage too. We've been doing lots of art projects. Art projects are so much fun to do with kids. yeah, so keeping a little kid busy is probably the hardest thing that I've had to deal with. But she's doing well. She's got a little cough, but I don't think it's anything, probably allergies. So I hope all of you are doing well. I hope all of your children are safe and doing very well. And I miss you. So, uh, yep, I really do. I miss you guys. Can't wait to see you again. And hopefully, this will all be over soon. Have a great night, you guys.